Your mind feels tired because your attention is being pulled in too many directions every single day. You start important goals but lose focus. You promise yourself change but fall back into the same habits. Hours disappear on things that do not improve your life, and deep down you know you are capable of far more. This audiobook is about changing that completely. You are about to learn how to build real focus, stronger discipline, emotional control, and daily habits that create lasting success. Not through empty motivation or unrealistic advice, but through practical actions you can apply immediately. By the end of this journey, you will understand why most people stay stuck, how distractions quietly destroy potential, and how one focused direction can transform your confidence, mindset, and future. Stay with this until the end, because one powerful shift in your focus can change your entire life. Chapter 1. Eliminate distractions and commit full to one meaningful goal. Most people are tired not because life is impossible, but because their attention is constantly being pulled in too many directions. Their mind wakes up already crowded. Notifications appear before their feet even touch the floor. Endless opinions flood their thoughts before they have a chance to hear their own voice. Every hour becomes divided between distractions that feel urgent but change nothing. At the end of the day, they feel busy yet empty. They worked hard but moved nowhere meaningful. Days pass like this for years. Energy disappears slowly. Confidence weakens quietly. Dreams stay unfinished, not because they were impossible, but because focus never stayed in one place long enough to grow. A distracted mind creates a weak life. A focused mind creates a powerful one. The truth is simple. No person can build a meaningful life while giving equal attention to everything. The human mind was not designed to chase hundreds of priorities at the same time. Every great achievement in history was built through concentration. Every skilled artist, every disciplined athlete, every wise leader, every successful builder reached their level because they learned how to focus deeply on what truly mattered. They stopped scattering their energy across useless battles and meaningless noise. One meaningful goal pursued with discipline can completely change a person's future. Many people avoid choosing one path because they fear missing other opportunities. They keep 10 doors open and stand still in the hallway for years. They tell themselves they are waiting for clarity, but often they are avoiding commitment. Commitment feels heavy because it demands sacrifice. The moment a person fully commits to one meaningful goal, they must say no to many distractions. They must disappoint some people. They must stop wasting time on things that no longer serve their future. This is difficult for most people because distraction feels comfortable. It gives temporary pleasure without demanding growth. But comfort has a price. Every hour spent feeding distraction steals time from becoming the person you could become. Every moment spent chasing shallow entertainment weakens your ability to sit still with difficult work. Every habit that divides your attention trains your brain to become weaker. A weak mind constantly reacts. A disciplined mind chooses carefully. Focus is not about doing more things. Focus is about doing fewer things with greater depth. A person who chases everything eventually masters nothing. A person who commits deeply to one meaningful mission begins transforming from the inside out. Their thoughts become clearer. Their actions become intentional. Their confidence becomes stronger because they finally trust themselves enough to stay consistent. Most people underestimate how much mental exhaustion comes from unfinished attention. Think about how many thoughts fight for space inside your head every single day. Messages waiting for replies, videos waiting to be watched, goals started but never completed, endless scrolling, endless comparison, endless stimulation. The brain never rests because it never fully lands anywhere. This creates constant mental tension. Even during moments of silence, the mind continues racing because it has been trained to crave noise. Silence feels uncomfortable to a distracted person because distraction has become emotional escape. Many people are not addicted to their phones. They are addicted to avoiding themselves. Quiet moments force them to face their fears, insecurities, regrets, and confusion. Noise becomes protection from self-reflection. Constant stimulation becomes a way to avoid difficult emotions. But growth never happens through avoidance. Strength is built by facing reality directly. A focused life begins when a person becomes honest about what truly matters. not what impresses strangers, not what trends online, not what brings temporary validation. What truly matters to your soul? What creates meaning inside your life? What gives you purpose even during difficult days? That goal must become clear. Without clarity, discipline becomes impossible. A person cannot focus deeply while constantly changing direction. One week they chase money. The next week they chase popularity. Then motivation disappears and another dream replaces the old one. Years pass inside this cycle. Energy keeps restarting instead of building momentum. Clarity creates power because it removes unnecessary decisions. When you know what matters most, you stop negotiating with distractions so often. You stop asking yourself every day what you should do. Your direction becomes stable. Stable direction creates stable action. Stable action creates results. This does not mean life becomes easy. Focus is difficult precisely because distractions are designed to steal attention. Modern life profits from your inability to concentrate. Companies compete for every second of your awareness. Every platform is built to keep your eyes trapped. Endless entertainment is available every moment of the day. Many people no longer know how to sit alone without reaching for stimulation. This constant interruption weakens patience, it weakens discipline, it weakens emotional control. A person who cannot focus for 30 minutes without checking their phone will struggle to build anything meaningful. Great work requires long periods of uninterrupted effort. Deep concentration allows ideas to mature. Skills improve through repetition and attention. Character strengthens when the mind learns to stay committed despite discomfort. Discomfort is unavoidable when pursuing meaningful goals. There will be days when motivation disappears, days when progress feels invisible, days when distractions feel more attractive than discipline. This is where most people quit. They mistake temporary emotions for permanent truth. They believe lack of excitement means lack of purpose. But meaningful growth rarely feels exciting every day. Real discipline is quiet. It looks like waking up tired but still doing the work. It looks like practicing while nobody notices. It looks like staying committed long after the initial excitement fades. Focused people are not always more talented. Often they simply stay consistent longer than others. Consistency creates identity. Every repeated action teaches your mind who you are becoming. When you continue showing up for one meaningful goal, your brain slowly accepts a new identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who merely wants success. You begin seeing yourself as someone capable of discipline. This shift changes everything. Confidence is not built through positive thinking alone. Confidence grows through evidence. Every promise you keep to yourself becomes proof that you can be trusted. Every distraction resisted strengthens self-respect. Every focused hour builds internal stability. A distracted person often feels powerless because they constantly break trust with themselves. They set goals, then abandon them. They create plans, then ignore them. Over time, this weakens belief in their own ability. Eventually, they stop aiming high because disappointment feels familiar. But the mind can be retrained. Focus is not something people are born with. It is a skill developed through practice. Every time you resist distraction, you strengthen mental control. Every time you return your attention to meaningful work, you build discipline. At first, this feels difficult because the brain is used to constant stimulation. Silence feels slow. Deep work feels uncomfortable. The mind searches for easier rewards. This is normal. The brain always follows patterns repeated consistently. If distraction has been practiced for years, focus will initially feel unnatural. But with repetition, concentration becomes stronger. Mental endurance improves just like physical endurance. Start by simplifying your environment. Many distractions are unnecessary. Remove what weakens your attention. Clean your workspace. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Stop carrying constant noise into every moment of your day. Protect your mind from endless input. The quality of your environment shapes the quality of your thinking. People often wait for discipline before changing their habits. But environment matters deeply. A distracted environment creates distracted behavior. A focused environment supports focused action. Protect your mornings especially carefully. The first hour after waking shapes mental direction for the rest of the day. Many people begin mornings by flooding their mind with noise. They immediately consume messages, news, videos, and opinions. Their attention becomes fragmented before their own thoughts even appear. This weakens focus before meaningful work begins. A stronger morning starts with intention. Wake up and spend time in silence. Breathe slowly. Write your priorities clearly. Focus on the single most important task that moves your life forward. Not 10 tasks, not endless goals. One meaningful action. A focused life is built one focused day at a time. People often destroy their productivity because they overcomplicate everything. They create impossible routines filled with unrealistic expectations. Then exhaustion arrives quickly. Sustainable discipline grows through simplicity. Choose fewer priorities and pursue them deeply. The same principle applies to relationships. Not every person deserves access to your energy. Some people constantly interrupt growth through negativity, gossip, chaos, and emotional drama. They distract attention away from meaningful goals. A focused life sometimes requires difficult boundaries. This is not cruelty, it is wisdom. Your future depends heavily on what repeatedly receives your attention. Attention is life energy. Whatever receives consistent attention grows stronger inside your life. Feed distraction and confusion grows. Feed discipline and clarity grows. Feed purpose and meaning grows. This is why protecting your attention is one of the most important responsibilities you have. Many people complain about lack of time while wasting hours every day on meaningless habits. They say their dreams matter, but their actions reveal different priorities. Time does not disappear suddenly. It disappears quietly through repeated distraction. 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there. Endless checking, endless consuming, endless avoidance. 1 year of focused effort can produce results that seem impossible to distracted people. The difference is not always intelligence. Often it is sustained concentration. Deep focus creates momentum. Momentum creates progress. Progress creates motivation. This cycle becomes powerful once it begins. At first, the work may feel slow because results are invisible, but invisible progress still matters. Roots grow underground before trees become visible above the surface. Character develops internally before external success appears. Many people quit too early because they expect immediate rewards. Patience separates serious people from distracted ones. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed external chaos should never control internal direction. A disciplined person focuses on what they can control: their actions, their choices, their habits, their attention. Most distractions are emotional reactions disguised as entertainment. People distract themselves when they fear failure. They distract themselves when they feel overwhelmed. They distract themselves when uncertainty creates discomfort. Instead of facing difficult work directly, they escape into temporary stimulation. But avoidance strengthens fear, action weakens fear. The moment you sit down and fully commit to meaningful work, your mind begins changing. Resistance slowly loses power. Clarity increases through action, not overthinking. Many people wait to feel ready before starting. Readiness rarely arrives first. Commitment creates readiness. This means focus requires courage. Courage to stay with one path long enough to experience difficulty. Courage to continue when excitement fades. Courage to ignore people who do not understand your direction. Courage to accept temporary loneliness while building something meaningful. Not everyone will support your focus. Some people benefit from your distraction because distracted people are easier to influence. Focused people become independent thinkers. They stop seeking constant approval. They become less reactive to noise. This threatens people who rely on attention and chaos. Stay committed anyway. A meaningful goal deserves your full presence. Half effort creates half results. Divided attention weakens outcomes. Full commitment transforms ordinary actions into powerful momentum. This does not mean perfection is required. There will be setbacks. Some days focus will break. Some distractions will win. The important thing is returning quickly without self-hatred. Many people fail because one mistake becomes an excuse to abandon discipline completely. They treat one weekday as permanent failure. A wiser approach is calmer. Accept imperfection while refusing surrender. Every day provides another opportunity to strengthen focus again. Progress is not destroyed by occasional mistakes. Progress is destroyed by quitting completely. Pay attention to how your body feels during distraction compared to deep focus. Distraction often leaves emptiness afterward. Hours disappear without satisfaction. The mind feels overstimulated but emotionally drained. Deep focused work feels different. It may feel difficult while doing it, but afterward there is peace, there is pride, there is quiet confidence, because energy was invested into something meaningful. Your nervous system recognizes the difference between escape and purpose. Purpose creates strength even when work feels hard. Many people search endlessly for motivation while ignoring structure. Structure matters more than temporary emotion. A person who depends only on motivation will remain inconsistent. Motivation changes daily. Discipline creates stability during emotional fluctuations. Create clear systems. Choose a specific time for focused work. Protect that time seriously. Train your brain to expect concentration during those hours. Over time, resistance decreases because routine strengthens behavior. Do not constantly measure yourself against others. Comparison destroys focus because it shifts attention away from your own path. Someone will always appear more successful, faster, richer, or more talented. Obsessing over their journey weakens your own progress. Focused people measure themselves against who they were yesterday. Improvement compounds slowly. 1 hour of focused effort every day may seem small initially, but repeated daily effort transforms identity over time. Skills deepen, confidence rises. Opportunities expand, discipline strengthens. Life changes quietly before dramatic results appear. The greatest tragedy is not failure. The greatest tragedy is living distracted from your own potential. Many people reach old age carrying regret, not because they lacked ability, but because they never focused deeply enough to discover what they were capable of becoming. Their attention remained scattered across endless noise. Their dreams stayed buried beneath distraction. Your life deserves more than endless reaction. It deserves intentional direction. One meaningful goal pursued consistently can reshape your future completely. It can improve your finances, health, mindset, relationships, and self-respect. But this only happens when commitment becomes stronger than distraction. Every focused decision matters. Every moment you return your attention to meaningful work, you are reclaiming control over your life. You are training your mind to become stronger than impulse. You are building internal order in a chaotic world. This is how transformation begins. Not through dramatic speeches, not through waiting for perfect conditions, not through endless planning. Transformation begins the moment a person decides their future matters more than temporary distraction. The world will continue offering noise every hour. Endless entertainment, endless opinions, endless interruptions. But peace does not come from controlling the world. Peace comes from controlling your attention. A focused mind becomes calmer because it stops chasing everything at once. It learns patience. It learns discipline. It learns clarity. Instead of reacting constantly, it moves deliberately. This creates quiet power. Quiet power does not need constant validation. It does not seek attention through noise. It builds steadily day after day while others waste energy trying to appear productive. Real growth is often invisible at first. A disciplined person may look ordinary from the outside while internally becoming unbreakable. They are strengthening concentration, emotional control, patience, and resilience every single day. One focused year can change your entire identity. One focused month can break destructive habits. One focused day can restore self-respect. The process always begins with the same decision. Eliminate distractions and commit fully to one meaningful goal. Not halfway, not occasionally. Fully, because a divided life creates divided results. But focused effort guided by discipline creates a life filled with meaning, strength, clarity, and deep fulfillment. Chapter 2. Train your mind to ignore what wastes energy daily. Every person loses energy somewhere during the day. Some lose it through worry. Some lose it through arguments that solve nothing. Some lose it through endless scrolling and comparison. Others lose it by giving attention to people who constantly bring confusion into their lives. Most people believe exhaustion only comes from physical work, but mental exhaustion destroys far more lives than physical labor ever could. A tired body can recover through sleep. A tired mind can stay trapped for years when it constantly feeds on negativity, noise, and useless distractions. Many people wake up already mentally drained because their mind never truly rests. Their attention moves in every direction at once. The moment they open their eyes, they begin consuming information. Messages appear, videos play, news spreads fear, opinions flood their thoughts. Their brain never receives silence long enough to think clearly. By the middle of the day, their focus weakens, patience disappears, and small problems begin feeling overwhelming. The mind becomes whatever it repeatedly consumes. This is why protecting mental energy is one of the most important forms of self-discipline. Every thought allowed into your mind affects your emotions, your decisions, and your behavior. A person who constantly feeds their mind with chaos eventually lives a chaotic life. A person who trains their mind to ignore what wastes energy develops emotional stability and inner strength. Most people do not realize how much unnecessary suffering they create by paying attention to things outside their control. They spend hours replaying insults, worrying about strangers' opinions, or imagining problems that have not even happened. Their mind becomes trapped inside battles that produce no growth. Meanwhile, real opportunities pass quietly because all their energy is being wasted internally. A disciplined person learns an important truth early in life. Not every thought deserves attention. This changes everything. Many thoughts appear automatically. Fear appears, doubt appears, anger appears, jealousy appears. But wisdom comes from deciding which thoughts deserve space inside your mind and which thoughts should be ignored completely. Mental strength is not about never experiencing negative thoughts. Mental strength is learning how not to feed them. Imagine how much energy disappears every single day through unnecessary reactions. Someone speaks negatively, and the mind stays disturbed for hours. One disappointing moment ruins an entire evening. A small mistake creates endless self-criticism. One comparison online suddenly makes a person question their entire life. These reactions may seem small individually, but repeated daily they slowly destroy peace of mind. Your attention is valuable. Stop giving it freely to things that weaken you. There is a major difference between awareness and obsession. Wise people stay aware of reality without emotionally drowning in every problem around them. They understand that carrying every burden mentally does not make them stronger. It only makes them exhausted. A person who reacts emotionally to everything loses control over themselves. The world is filled with noise designed to pull attention away from meaningful living. Drama spreads faster than wisdom. Fear attracts more attention than calm thinking. Outrage becomes entertainment for millions of people every day. Many minds are addicted to emotional stimulation because silence feels unfamiliar. But constant emotional reaction slowly destroys concentration and emotional balance. Peace requires training. At first, the mind will continue chasing distractions automatically because it has been conditioned for years. It searches for stimulation the same way unhealthy habits search for comfort. This is why many people struggle to sit quietly even for a few minutes. Their brain immediately demands entertainment, movement, or noise. But a mind that cannot sit still cannot think deeply. Deep thinking requires calm attention. Growth requires reflection. Wisdom requires space. Constant mental noise leaves no room for understanding yourself clearly. Many people spend their entire lives reacting instead of thinking. They react emotionally to headlines. They react to gossip. They react to criticism. They react to temporary feelings. Their emotions control their direction because their mind has never been trained to pause before responding. One of the strongest habits you can develop is learning to pause. Pause before speaking in anger. Pause before checking your phone again. Pause before arguing with someone who only wants conflict. Pause before giving your emotional energy to situations that will not matter next week. That pause creates power. A reactive person lives emotionally chained to external events. A disciplined person chooses carefully where their energy goes. This does not mean becoming cold or emotionless. It means becoming intentional. Emotions are part of being human, but emotions should not become the ruler of your life. Anger should not decide your actions. Fear should not control your future. Temporary frustration should not destroy long-term goals. Strong minds stay steady even when life becomes difficult. Many people believe mental peace comes from controlling external conditions. They think peace will arrive once life becomes easier. Once people behave better or once problems disappear. But life will always contain uncertainty. Difficult people will always exist. Challenges will continue appearing. Waiting for perfect conditions is a dangerous trap. Real peace comes from mastering your response. This is why mental discipline matters so deeply. Without it, the outside world controls your inner state constantly. One conversation changes your mood. One comment ruins your confidence. One inconvenience destroys your focus. This creates emotional instability because your peace depends on external events instead of internal control. A trained mind learns to separate what deserves attention from what deserves silence. Some battles are not worth fighting. Some conversations are not worth continuing. Some opinions are not worth carrying emotionally. Every day presents opportunities to waste energy on meaningless things. The wise person notices these traps quickly and refuses to participate. One major source of wasted energy is comparison. Comparison quietly destroys gratitude and self-respect. People begin measuring their worth against strangers who show only selected parts of their lives. They see achievements but not struggles. They see results but not sacrifices. Then they begin feeling behind even when they are making real progress. Comparison steals focus from your own growth. No person can build a meaningful life while constantly watching everyone else. Attention must return inward. Your path is your responsibility. Your discipline is your responsibility. Your habits determine your future far more than someone else's success ever will. Another major source of wasted energy is overthinking. Some people spend more time thinking about action than actually taking action. Their mind becomes trapped in endless analysis. They imagine failure before beginning. They search for certainty before moving forward. Days disappear inside hesitation. Action creates clarity faster than overthinking ever will. The mind often creates fear around situations that are manageable once faced directly. This is why avoiding important tasks increases anxiety while completing them creates relief. Mental energy returns when action replaces avoidance. Pay attention to how your body feels after spending hours consuming useless information. The mind feels crowded, focus weakens, motivation disappears. Compare that feeling to spending time reading something meaningful, exercising, learning a skill, or working deeply toward a goal. One drains energy, the other builds it. Your daily habits either protect your mind or poison it. This is why discipline must exist not only in work but also in consumption. Protect what enters your mind. Not every piece of information deserves attention. Not every argument deserves emotional investment. Not every trend deserves participation. Mental clarity grows through selective attention. People who constantly consume noise eventually lose connection with themselves. Their thoughts become shaped entirely by external influence. They stop asking important questions. What kind of person am I becoming? What habits are shaping my future? What actually matters in my life? Silence helps answer these questions honestly. Spend time alone without distraction sometimes. Walk without headphones. Sit quietly without checking screens every few minutes. Observe your thoughts carefully. Many people avoid silence because it reveals uncomfortable truths. But facing truth is necessary for growth. A distracted mind avoids reality. A disciplined mind confronts it calmly. Another hidden source of wasted energy is carrying resentment. Holding anger for long periods damages the person carrying it more than the person who caused it. Bitterness consumes emotional space that could be used for growth, peace, or meaningful action. Forgiveness does not mean approving harmful behavior. It means refusing to let pain continue controlling your mind. Some people remain emotionally trapped for years because they replay old wounds every day. Their body moves forward, but their mind stays attached to the past. Freedom begins when the mind stops feeding old pain repeatedly. This requires practice because the brain naturally returns to emotionally charged memories. But returning attention to the present moment weakens the grip of those memories slowly over time. The same principle applies to fear about the future. Fear grows when the mind lives too far ahead. It imagines disasters, failure, rejection, and uncertainty repeatedly. Eventually, the body experiences stress from situations that do not even exist yet. A calmer mind focuses on what can be done today. Today's actions shape tomorrow more than today's worries ever will. This is where discipline becomes powerful. Discipline gives the mind direction. Instead of drifting endlessly through emotion and distraction, the mind learns to focus on meaningful action. Wake up with purpose. Protect your mornings from unnecessary noise. Choose carefully who influences your thinking. Reduce time spent on habits that leave you mentally drained. Spend more time building skills than consuming entertainment. Rest properly instead of escaping constantly. Speak less when emotions are high. Think carefully before reacting. These simple choices slowly rebuild mental strength. At first, people around you may not understand these changes. Some may even feel uncomfortable when you stop participating in gossip, negativity, or emotional drama. But protecting your peace is not selfish, it is necessary. A person with exhausted mental energy struggles to help themselves or anyone else effectively. Strong focus requires strong mental boundaries. This is why successful people are often selective with their environment. They understand attention is limited. They understand energy must be directed intentionally. They know constant distraction weakens performance and emotional stability. Mental discipline is built through repetition, just like physical strength. Every time you refuse unnecessary drama, you strengthen emotional control. Every time you avoid pointless arguments, you protect peace. Every time you return attention to meaningful work, you build focus. These moments seem small, but together they reshape identity. Eventually, the mind becomes calmer naturally. External chaos loses some of its power. Emotional reactions become less intense. Clarity increases, patience improves. Decisions become wiser because the mind is no longer overcrowded with noise. This creates a powerful advantage in life because calm people think more clearly under pressure. While others panic emotionally, disciplined people stay grounded. They respond instead of react. They conserve energy instead of wasting it. Energy saved through discipline becomes strength available for meaningful goals. The world constantly competes for your attention because attention creates influence. Protecting your mind has become one of the most important skills of modern life. Not every distraction looks dangerous initially. Some distractions arrive disguised as harmless entertainment, endless updates, or unnecessary involvement in other people's lives. But anything repeated daily shapes the mind slowly. Your future is affected by what repeatedly receives your attention. Guard it carefully. Train your mind to ignore what weakens your spirit, damages your peace, steals your focus, or wastes your energy. Not everything deserves emotional involvement. Not everything deserves a reaction. Sometimes the strongest response is silence. Sometimes the wisest choice is walking away. Sometimes the greatest form of discipline is refusing to feed what drains your life force. A focused, peaceful mind is not built accidentally. It is built through conscious daily decisions repeated consistently over time. Every day your mind is either becoming stronger or becoming more distracted. Choose carefully what you allow inside. Chapter 3. Build powerful routines that strengthen deep focus every day. A distracted life rarely collapses all at once. It weakens slowly through inconsistent days. One late night becomes a habit. One wasted morning turns into a pattern. One broken promise to yourself becomes another reason to stop trusting your own discipline. Over time, the mind loses structure. Focus becomes harder. Motivation becomes unreliable. Important goals stay unfinished. Not because a person lacks intelligence or potential, but because their daily routines never support the life they want to build. The quality of a person's routine quietly shapes the quality of their future. Every day the mind is being trained whether you realize it or not. The brain adapts to repeated behavior. If your days are filled with distraction, your attention span weakens. If your schedule constantly changes, your mind struggles to stay organized. If your actions are guided only by mood, your progress becomes unstable. But when strong routines are built carefully, the mind begins operating with greater clarity, consistency, and control. Many people wait for inspiration before taking action. They believe successful people are constantly motivated. This is far from reality. Strong people often succeed because they follow routines even when they do not feel emotionally ready. Their habits carry them through moments when feelings become unreliable. Routines reduce mental chaos. Without structure, the mind wastes enormous energy making unnecessary decisions all day. Small choices slowly drain attention. When to wake up, what to focus on first, whether to work or procrastinate, whether to exercise or stay comfortable. A person without routines negotiates with themselves constantly. This creates mental fatigue before meaningful work even begins. A disciplined routine removes many of these internal battles. When healthy actions become automatic, the mind conserves energy for deeper thinking and more important decisions. This is why routines are powerful. They create stability in a world filled with distraction and unpredictability. Deep focus is not created by accident. It grows from preparation. A person cannot spend hours feeding their brain with noise, then suddenly expect intense concentration when important work begins. The mind follows patterns. If your daily life trains constant interruption, your focus becomes fragmented. If your routine trains calm attention, your concentration becomes stronger. The beginning of the day matters greatly. How you start your morning affects your mental state for hours afterward. Many people begin their mornings in reaction mode. They immediately reach for their phone. Their mind becomes flooded with messages, opinions, notifications, and stimulation before they have fully awakened. Their attention is stolen before they even choose where to place it. A stronger routine begins with ownership over your first hour. Wake up with intention instead of urgency. Avoid rushing immediately into noise. Give your mind space to become clear before consuming information from the outside world. Drink water slowly, stretch your body, sit quietly for a few moments, breathe deeply. Allow your thoughts to settle naturally. A calm morning creates a calmer mind throughout the day. This does not require complicated rituals. Many people fail because they create routines so extreme that they become impossible to maintain. Simplicity creates consistency. A routine should support your life, not exhaust you before the day even starts. After waking, your first meaningful task should require focus, not distraction. The mind is usually strongest early in the day before mental fatigue builds. Use that energy wisely. Work on the task that matters most before giving your attention to less important responsibilities. Many people make the mistake of spending their best mental hours on shallow activities, then trying to focus deeply later when their energy has already been drained. Protect your peak attention carefully. Deep work requires uninterrupted time. Constant switching between tasks weakens concentration. Every notification, every unnecessary conversation, and every interruption forces the brain to reset attention repeatedly. Over time, this destroys mental endurance. A focused routine creates boundaries around concentration. Turn off unnecessary alerts. Keep your environment clean and organized. Give your full attention to one task at a time. Even short periods of uninterrupted work done consistently can produce powerful results over months and years. The body also affects focus more than most people realize. Poor sleep weakens discipline. Lack of movement reduces energy. Constant junk food affects mood and mental clarity. The brain and body are deeply connected. A tired, unhealthy body struggles to support sustained concentration. Many people search for productivity tricks while ignoring basic physical care. Sleep matters. Movement matters. Nutrition matters. Sunlight matters. Rest matters. A strong routine includes habits that support both mental and physical strength. You cannot expect clear thinking from a body constantly pushed into exhaustion. One powerful habit is creating predictable times for important activities. When you train yourself to work, study, exercise, or reflect at similar times daily, the brain adapts. Resistance decreases because the behavior becomes familiar. Routine turns effort into rhythm. This is especially important during difficult emotional periods. Life will not always feel stable. Some days motivation disappears. Some seasons feel emotionally heavy. But routines create support during those moments. Even when emotions fluctuate, healthy habits continue carrying your life forward. This is one reason disciplined people recover faster from setbacks. Their routines protect them from completely collapsing during stressful periods. A person with no structure often falls deeply into distraction when life becomes difficult. Sleep patterns break, focus disappears, small responsibilities pile up, emotional exhaustion increases. But a structured routine acts like an anchor during chaos. Even simple habits repeated daily create strength over time. Making your bed every morning may seem unimportant, but it teaches completion and order. Exercising consistently trains endurance beyond the physical body. Reading daily strengthens concentration and reflection. Writing thoughts in a journal increases self-awareness. Small actions repeated consistently shape identity slowly. People often underestimate the power of repetition because results appear gradually. But daily routines compound quietly. One disciplined day may not change your life immediately. 100 disciplined days can completely transform your direction. The key is consistency, not perfection. Many people abandon routines because they miss one day and begin criticizing themselves harshly. They believe one mistake destroys progress. This mindset creates unnecessary failure. Missing occasionally is part of being human. What matters is returning quickly instead of quitting completely. Strong routines should create stability, not self-punishment. Flexibility matters too. Some people become obsessed with rigid schedules while forgetting the purpose behind discipline. The goal is not to become emotionally trapped by routines. The goal is to create a life where your habits support clarity, peace, and meaningful progress. A wise routine leaves room for rest, reflection, and adjustment. Another important part of building focus is reducing decision overload. Too many choices weaken mental energy. This is why successful people often simplify certain parts of life. They reduce unnecessary complexity. They organize their environment carefully. They create systems that support consistency automatically. When your surroundings are chaotic, your attention becomes divided. Clean spaces often support clearer thinking. Organized environments reduce unnecessary stress. Simple systems make discipline easier to maintain. Preparation also matters deeply. If you want focused mornings, prepare the night before. Plan your priorities clearly. Set out what you need for work or exercise. Remove distractions ahead of time instead of relying only on willpower later. Willpower is limited. Systems are stronger. Many people trust temporary motivation too much. They believe they will suddenly feel disciplined tomorrow. But discipline grows through preparation and repetition, not emotional excitement. The strongest routines are realistic. A person working long hours should not create a schedule impossible to maintain. A student should not copy routines designed for someone living a completely different life. Your routine should fit your responsibilities while still pushing you toward growth. Build gradually. Trying to change everything at once usually creates burnout. Focus on strengthening a few important habits first. Once those habits become stable, build additional structure slowly. Patience is essential here. Deep focus is not developed in a single week. The modern world trains distraction aggressively. Many minds have been conditioned for years to seek constant stimulation. Rebuilding concentration takes time. Some days will feel difficult. The mind may resist stillness initially. That resistance is normal. Stay consistent anyway. Every focused hour strengthens your ability to concentrate longer tomorrow. Another powerful habit is creating moments of intentional silence during the day. Most people never allow their mind to slow down. There is always background noise, conversation, music, content, or stimulation. Silence gives the brain space to recover. It increases awareness. It allows deeper thoughts to surface. Even a short, quiet walk without a phone can reset mental clarity. Reflection is another habit that strengthens focus. At the end of the day, ask yourself honest questions. What drained my attention today? What improved my focus? What habits moved me closer to the person I want to become? What distractions weakened my energy? Self-awareness helps routines improve over time. Without reflection, people repeat destructive patterns automatically. They continue wasting time without understanding why their focus keeps collapsing. A disciplined life requires observation. Notice what environments weaken your attention. Notice which people constantly distract you from meaningful work. Notice what habits leave you mentally exhausted afterward. Protect your attention carefully because focus is becoming increasingly rare. Most people are constantly interrupted. Their mind jumps rapidly between screens, conversations, worries, and stimulation. Very few people can sit deeply with one task for long periods anymore. This creates a major advantage for those who train concentration intentionally. A focused person produces better work, thinks more clearly, learns faster, and experiences greater inner calm. Deep focus also improves confidence. Every time you complete meaningful work, your self-respect grows. You begin trusting your ability to follow through. Many people secretly struggle with low confidence because they constantly abandon their own plans. Their routines lack consistency, so they stop believing in themselves. Reliable habits rebuild that trust slowly when you wake up consistently, when you exercise consistently, when you protect focused work consistently, when you honor your commitments consistently. You begin seeing yourself differently. Identity changes through repeated behavior. Eventually, discipline stops feeling forced because it becomes part of who you are. Focus becomes natural because your routines support it daily. The mind becomes calmer because it no longer lives in constant disorder. This does not mean life becomes perfect. There will still be distractions. Unexpected problems will still appear. Difficult emotions will still exist. But routines create internal strength that helps you navigate challenges without completely losing direction. A person without structure gets pulled everywhere by emotion, circumstance, and distraction. A person with disciplined routines stays grounded. That grounding creates long-term progress. The future is not shaped only by major decisions. It is shaped quietly through ordinary days repeated over time. Your routines determine how your mornings begin, how your mind functions, how your energy is used, and how your goals are pursued. Every habit either strengthens focus or weakens it. Every repeated action teaches the mind what to expect from you. Train yourself carefully. Build routines that create clarity instead of confusion. Build habits that increase discipline instead of distraction. Build a lifestyle that protects concentration instead of destroying it. Because deep focus is not a gift given to a lucky few. It is a skill developed daily through structure, patience, repetition, and intentional living. Chapter 4. Protect your time by removing unnecessary tasks and habits. Time disappears quietly. Most people do not notice how much of their life is being lost because the loss happens in small pieces. A few wasted minutes in the morning. An hour spent checking things that do not matter. Another evening consumed by habits that bring no growth, no peace, and no real satisfaction. Days begin blending together. Months pass quickly. Then one day, a person looks at their life and wonders why they still feel stuck despite being busy all the time. Being busy is not the same as moving forward. Many people fill their schedule with constant activity while avoiding the work that would actually improve their future. They answer every message immediately. They involve themselves in unnecessary conversations. They agree to responsibilities they do not truly care about. They spend hours reacting instead of building. Their energy becomes scattered across dozens of small distractions, while meaningful goals receive only leftover attention. A focused life requires elimination. This truth is difficult because most people are emotionally attached to habits and tasks that waste their time. Some distractions provide temporary comfort. Some create the illusion of productivity. Others help people avoid difficult responsibilities. But anything that repeatedly steals your time without improving your life deserves honest examination. Every unnecessary habit carries a hidden cost. That cost is your future attention, your peace of mind, your growth, and your opportunity to build something meaningful. Many people believe they need more time to achieve their goals. In reality, they often need fewer distractions. Time already exists inside the day, but it becomes buried beneath habits that drain energy and attention. The first step toward protecting your time is becoming aware of where it actually goes. Most people underestimate how many hours disappear into unconscious behavior. They pick up their phone for a few minutes and lose an hour. They sit down to rest briefly and fall into endless entertainment. They start tasks without purpose and move through the day reacting automatically instead of acting intentionally. Awareness creates change. Without awareness, people continue repeating destructive routines while convincing themselves they are too overwhelmed to improve. Honest observation reveals the truth. Some habits are not relaxing you. They are weakening your discipline. Some activities are not helping you grow. They are delaying your progress. This does not mean every moment must become productive. Rest matters deeply, recovery matters, joy matters. But there is a major difference between intentional rest and unconscious escape. Intentional rest restores energy. Mindless distraction often leaves people feeling emptier afterward. Pay attention to how certain habits affect your state of mind. Some activities leave you calm, focused, and refreshed. Others leave you mentally foggy, emotionally drained, and dissatisfied. The body and mind usually reveal the difference clearly when you observe honestly. Many unnecessary tasks exist because people struggle to say no. They fear disappointing others. They fear conflict. They fear appearing selfish. So they continue agreeing to things that consume time without adding meaning to their life. Gradually, their schedule becomes crowded with obligations they never truly wanted. Every unnecessary yes becomes a sacrifice of time that could have been used for something meaningful. Protecting your time requires boundaries, not harshness, not arrogance, boundaries. A disciplined person understands that attention is limited, energy is limited, time is limited. Therefore, not every request deserves acceptance. Some people will misunderstand this. They may become uncomfortable when you stop being endlessly available. But constantly sacrificing your priorities to satisfy everyone else creates resentment and exhaustion. A meaningful life cannot be built through constant people-pleasing. There are also internal habits that quietly steal enormous amounts of time. Overthinking is one of them. Many people spend hours mentally replaying conversations, imagining worst-case scenarios, or delaying action because they feel uncertain. Their body stays still while the mind burns energy endlessly. By the end of the day, they feel exhausted, despite accomplishing very little. Thinking becomes destructive when it replaces action. Clarity often appears through movement, not endless mental analysis. Important tasks usually become easier once started. Resistance decreases through action. Delay strengthens fear while movement weakens it. Perfectionism also wastes valuable time. Some people postpone progress because they want everything to feel perfect before beginning. They spend more energy planning than building. They wait for ideal conditions, ideal moods, or ideal confidence. Meanwhile, opportunities continue passing by. Growth comes through consistent, imperfect action. A finished task creates more progress than a perfect idea never acted upon. Another hidden source of wasted time is emotional drama. Some people become consumed by conflict, gossip, arguments, and unnecessary tension daily. Their attention stays trapped inside problems that produce no wisdom, no peace, and no improvement. Emotional chaos drains concentration quickly. Not every disagreement deserves your energy. Not every criticism deserves a response. Not every opinion deserves emotional involvement. Learning when to walk away is a powerful form of self-respect. Many strong people protect their peace carefully because they understand emotional exhaustion damages focus and decision-making. Calm minds use time more wisely than reactive minds. Digital habits also deserve honest attention. Technology itself is not the enemy. The problem begins when tools become addictions. Endless scrolling trains the brain to seek constant stimulation. Short attention spans become normal. Deep thinking becomes harder. Hours disappear without awareness. Many people no longer control their devices. Their devices control them. A person who constantly interrupts their own attention weakens their ability to complete meaningful work. Every notification pulls the mind into reaction mode. Concentration breaks repeatedly throughout the day until mental fatigue becomes constant. One of the strongest decisions you can make is creating limits around digital consumption. You do not need to know everything happening every hour. You do not need to respond immediately to every message. You do not need constant entertainment filling every empty moment. Silence is healthy. Stillness is healthy. Mental space is healthy. When the mind is no longer overcrowded with noise, clarity begins returning naturally. Another important lesson is understanding the difference between motion and progress. Many people move constantly but accomplish very little because their effort lacks direction. They jump between tasks rapidly without completing important work deeply. Busyness gives temporary satisfaction because it feels active, but scattered activity often hides avoidance. Meaningful progress usually requires sustained attention on fewer priorities. This means simplifying life intentionally. Simplification is not weakness, it is wisdom. A simpler schedule creates more room for focus. A simpler environment creates less distraction. A simpler routine creates greater consistency. Many successful people are not successful because they do more than everyone else. They succeed because they protect their time more carefully. They know what deserves energy and what does not. This level of clarity requires discipline because modern life constantly encourages excess. More information, more entertainment, more obligations, more stimulation. Many people are drowning in unnecessary input while starving for meaningful direction. A wise person regularly asks important questions. What activities actually improve my life? What habits repeatedly leave me feeling empty? What tasks could be removed completely? What distractions continue stealing my attention? These questions create awareness that leads to change. One practical habit is planning your priorities before the day begins. Without direction, the mind naturally drifts toward easy distractions. But when your important tasks are already clear, your attention becomes more intentional. You waste less energy deciding what to do next. Another useful practice is creating periods of uninterrupted focus. Protect those periods seriously. During that time, remove distractions completely. No unnecessary checking, no multitasking, no constant switching between activities. Give your full attention to one meaningful task at a time. Deep focus produces better results in less time. Multitasking often creates shallow work and mental exhaustion. Rest also becomes more valuable when time is protected properly. Many people cannot enjoy rest because they spend all day avoiding important responsibilities. Their mind stays anxious because unfinished tasks continue weighing on them internally. But when meaningful work is completed with focus, rest feels peaceful instead of guilty. There is dignity in using time wisely, not through obsession or unhealthy pressure, but through intentional living. Life becomes more fulfilling when your actions align with your values instead of constant distraction. This requires honesty. Some habits must be removed completely. Some relationships need distance. Some routines deserve replacement. Some activities no longer fit the future you want to build. Growth often involves subtraction before addition. You create space for better things by removing what weakens your life. This applies emotionally as well. Holding on to old regrets wastes mental energy. Constantly replaying past mistakes steals attention from present opportunities. A wiser mind learns from the past without living inside it permanently. Time cannot be recovered once spent. This reality should not create fear, it should create clarity. Every day becomes more meaningful when you remember its value. Small choices matter more. Ordinary moments matter more. Your attention becomes more intentional because you recognize that life is not endless. Many people delay becoming disciplined because they believe there will always be more time later. Later becomes next year becomes another decade. Eventually, regret replaces intention. The strongest people respect time deeply. They understand that every hour invested wisely compounds over years into skills, wisdom, stability, and growth. This does not require becoming emotionally rigid or removing all enjoyment from life. Joy matters. Relationships matter. Laughter matters. But living intentionally means choosing these experiences consciously instead of drifting endlessly through distraction. A protected life is a directed life. When unnecessary habits disappear, focus strengthens naturally. When meaningless tasks are reduced, energy returns. When distractions lose power, peace increases. This creates room for what truly matters. Better work, better health, better thinking, better relationships, better emotional balance. Most transformation begins not by adding more, but by removing what no longer serves your future. Protect your time because your life is built from it. Guard your attention because your future depends on where it is placed repeatedly. Eliminate what weakens your focus. Reduce what steals your energy. Walk away from what keeps your mind crowded and exhausted. Your life becomes clearer when your priorities become fewer. And a person who learns to protect their time eventually gains something many people never experience: a life directed with purpose instead of distraction. Chapter 5. Strengthen self-discipline through consistent, focused daily actions. Self-discipline is often misunderstood. Many people imagine it as punishment, restriction, or a life without enjoyment. They see disciplined people as emotionally cold or endlessly strict with themselves. But real self-discipline is not about suffering. It is about building the ability to guide your actions instead of being controlled by temporary feelings. It is the quiet strength that allows a person to continue moving forward, even when comfort invites them to stop. A person without discipline becomes a servant to impulse. Every mood controls them. Every distraction pulls them away. Every difficult moment becomes a reason to quit. Their life moves according to emotion instead of intention. One day they feel motivated and work hard. The next day they feel tired and abandon everything. This cycle creates frustration because goals are constantly started but rarely completed. Discipline changes this pattern completely. It creates stability in behavior even when emotions fluctuate. A disciplined person still experiences doubt, laziness, frustration, and temptation. The difference is they do not allow those feelings to decide their direction. This strength is not built in dramatic moments. It is built through consistent, focused daily actions. Every small action matters more than most people realize. Waking up when you promised yourself you would wake up matters. Completing work, even when your mind searches for distraction, matters. Keeping your word to yourself matters. These moments appear ordinary, but they quietly shape identity. Every repeated action teaches the mind what kind of person you are becoming. If you repeatedly avoid discomfort, your brain learns weakness. If you repeatedly follow through despite resistance, your brain learns discipline. Self-discipline grows through evidence. The mind begins trusting itself when actions consistently match intentions. Confidence increases naturally because you stop relying only on motivation. You begin proving through daily behavior that you can remain committed. Many people damage their self-respect without realizing it. They constantly make promises to themselves, then break them. They say they will start tomorrow. They create plans but abandon them quickly. Over time, this creates internal disappointment. Eventually, they stop believing in their own words because inconsistency has become familiar. Discipline repairs this broken trust slowly. It begins with small victories repeated daily. Not giant, impossible changes. Not extreme routines that collapse after 1 week. Small, consistent actions. This approach matters because lasting discipline is built gradually. Many people fail because they chase intensity instead of consistency. They become highly motivated for a short period, push themselves beyond sustainability, then burn out completely. Afterward, they return to old habits, feeling even more discouraged. Consistency creates stronger results than emotional extremes. A person who improves steadily every day eventually becomes far stronger than someone who depends on occasional bursts of motivation. This requires patience because disciplined growth often feels slow in the beginning. Results may not appear immediately. Progress may feel invisible for a while. This is where many people quit too early. They expect rapid transformation and become frustrated when life does not change instantly. But important change happens beneath the surface first. Character develops quietly. Mental endurance strengthens gradually. Focus improves slowly. Habits shape identity over time. The person who remains patient during this stage eventually experiences powerful transformation because discipline compounds. One completed task leads to another. One productive day creates momentum for the next. One promise kept builds trust for future challenges. Momentum matters deeply. A person trapped in laziness often feels overwhelmed because everything feels difficult at once. But action creates movement. Movement creates energy. Energy creates motivation. Waiting to feel motivated before acting usually keeps people stuck. Action must come first. This is why daily structure matters so much. Without structure, the mind naturally drifts toward comfort and distraction. The brain prefers immediate pleasure because it requires less effort. Discipline means training yourself to choose long-term growth over temporary ease repeatedly. That choice appears in small moments throughout the day. Choosing to exercise when staying comfortable feels easier. Choosing to focus when distractions are available. Choosing to prepare properly instead of rushing carelessly. Choosing to continue when progress feels slow. These decisions may seem insignificant individually, but repeated consistently, they completely reshape a person's future. Discipline also creates emotional resilience. Many people collapse mentally during difficult periods because they have never trained themselves to operate under discomfort. The moment life becomes stressful, their habits disappear completely. Sleep patterns break. Focus disappears, responsibilities get ignored, emotional reactions take control. A disciplined person suffers too, but they maintain structure even during hard seasons. Their habits provide stability when emotions become unstable. This gives them strength during moments that would overwhelm less disciplined minds. One reason discipline feels difficult initially is because comfort has become automatic for many people. Modern life offers endless convenience. Entertainment is available constantly. Distraction is always nearby. Immediate pleasure requires very little effort. This environment weakens patience and attention. The brain begins expecting stimulation all the time. Deep work starts feeling uncomfortable. Silence feels strange. Effort feels heavier. But discomfort is not always a sign something is wrong. Often discomfort simply means growth is happening. Muscles strengthen through resistance. Mental endurance develops through challenge. Character becomes stronger through repeated disciplined action. Avoiding every uncomfortable feeling creates weakness over time. A person who only acts when conditions feel perfect never develops true inner strength. This is why disciplined people often appear calmer under pressure. They have trained themselves to continue functioning despite discomfort. Their mind no longer panics every time things become difficult. Daily discipline also improves clarity. When life lacks structure, the mind becomes crowded with unfinished tasks, guilt, confusion, and mental noise. But when actions are handled consistently, the mind becomes more organized. Stress decreases because responsibilities stop piling up endlessly. This creates peace. Not because life becomes easy, but because internal chaos decreases. There is also a powerful connection between discipline and freedom. At first, discipline may feel restrictive. Waking up early, following routines, limiting distractions, and staying focused can seem demanding. But over time, discipline creates greater freedom than laziness ever could. Financial discipline creates financial stability. Health discipline creates physical strength. Mental discipline creates emotional peace. Focus discipline creates opportunity. Undisciplined behavior often creates temporary comfort, followed by long-term suffering. Discipline creates temporary discomfort, followed by long-term strength. The difference becomes clear over years. Many people secretly admire disciplined individuals because discipline represents self-mastery. It shows the ability to guide behavior intentionally instead of reacting automatically to every impulse. Self-mastery changes how a person sees themselves. When you repeatedly do difficult things, your self-image changes naturally. You stop viewing yourself as weak, unreliable, or incapable. You begin recognizing your ability to endure challenge and continue progressing. This confidence feels different from external validation. It becomes internal, quiet, stable, built through personal evidence instead of other people's approval. One important lesson is understanding that discipline should support your values, not destroy your humanity. Some people become obsessed with productivity while neglecting rest, relationships, and emotional balance. True discipline includes wisdom. It understands when to push forward and when recovery is necessary. Rest is productive when it restores strength intentionally. Burnout helps nobody. A sustainable, disciplined life includes balance between effort and recovery. Another important truth is that environment affects discipline heavily. Many people constantly blame themselves while surrounding themselves with distraction, temptation, and chaos. Strong habits become easier when your environment supports them. Prepare your surroundings wisely. Keep unnecessary distractions away during focused work. Organize spaces clearly. Reduce friction around healthy habits. Make disciplined choices easier to follow consistently. Willpower alone eventually becomes exhausted. Systems and preparation create stronger long-term consistency. It is also important to stop identifying with past failures permanently. Some people remain trapped because they continue seeing themselves through old mistakes. They tell themselves they are lazy, inconsistent, or incapable. This mindset becomes dangerous because identity shapes behavior. You are not trapped by previous habits forever. Discipline can be rebuilt at any stage of life through repeated action. The process begins with honesty. Stop waiting for perfect timing. Stop expecting motivation to save you. Stop believing transformation requires dramatic overnight change. Meaningful progress usually looks ordinary while it is happening. A person waking up early consistently. A person practicing focused work daily. A person exercising despite excuses. A person following through quietly without needing applause. These actions may not look exciting externally, but internally they build enormous strength over time. One disciplined year can completely redirect a person's future. Skills improve, health improves, confidence improves, focus improves, emotional stability improves. Opportunities increase because disciplined people become dependable. Dependability matters greatly. People trust disciplined individuals because their actions remain steady. They follow through. They show up. They maintain standards even without supervision. This reliability becomes valuable in every area of life. Relationships become stronger. Work improves. Goals become realistic because consistency replaces empty intention. The truth is simple. Your future is shaped less by occasional inspiration and more by repeated daily behavior. Small, focused actions performed consistently carry tremendous power over time. Every day provides another opportunity to strengthen discipline, not through punishment, not through harsh self-hatred, through intentional action. Wake up and do what matters even when excuses appear. Protect your focus when distractions call for attention. Finish what you begin. Keep promises made to yourself. Continue moving forward when progress feels slow. Over time, these actions build a person who no longer depends entirely on mood to function. That person becomes mentally stronger, calmer, more reliable, more capable of handling difficulty without collapsing. This transformation does not happen because life suddenly becomes easier. It happens because disciplined action changes the way the mind responds to life itself. The strongest people are rarely those with the easiest circumstances. They are often the people who learned how to stay committed through discomfort repeatedly. Self-discipline is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming consistent enough to trust yourself again. And once a person truly trusts themselves, their entire life begins changing from the inside out. Chapter 6. Overcome fear and doubt by trusting your chosen direction. Fear has stopped more dreams than failure ever has. Many people never truly begin the life they want because they spend years waiting to feel certain. They wait for confidence to arrive before taking action. They wait for guarantees before committing fully. They wait for all doubt to disappear before moving forward. But certainty rarely appears at the beginning of any meaningful journey. Most important decisions in life involve uncertainty. No person can predict every outcome. No path comes with complete reassurance. Every meaningful direction contains risk, discomfort, and moments where the future feels unclear. This reality frightens many people because the human mind naturally searches for safety. It wants proof before effort. It wants comfort before challenge. It wants certainty before movement. But growth requires walking forward, even when the entire road cannot be seen clearly. Fear itself is not the enemy. Fear is part of being human. Every person experiences fear before difficult conversations, major changes, new opportunities, and uncertain situations. The real danger begins when fear becomes the ruler of your decisions. Once fear controls your direction, your potential becomes trapped behind hesitation. Many people live smaller lives than they truly desire because doubt constantly whispers inside their mind. What if this fails? What if people judge me? What if I make the wrong choice? What if I am not capable enough? These thoughts slowly weaken courage when repeated daily. Over time, hesitation becomes a habit. Opportunities pass quietly because fear convinces the mind to stay where things feel familiar. Comfort can become a prison when it prevents growth. A person may dislike their current situation deeply yet still refuse to change because uncertainty feels frightening. Familiar pain often feels safer than unknown possibility. This is why many people remain stuck in unhealthy routines, unfulfilled work, toxic environments, and limited versions of themselves for years. Trusting your chosen direction means accepting that fear may still exist while deciding to move forward anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is action despite fear. This distinction matters greatly because many people misunderstand bravery completely. They imagine fearless people as individuals who never doubt themselves. In reality, even strong, disciplined people experience uncertainty. The difference is they do not allow uncertainty to stop them permanently. Doubt often appears strongest at the beginning of meaningful change. The mind becomes uncomfortable when leaving familiar patterns because the brain prefers predictability. Even unhealthy habits can feel emotionally safe simply because they are known. A new direction forces adaptation. It demands growth. It requires the mind to operate outside old limitations. This creates resistance naturally. The moment a person decides to pursue a bigger goal, their fears often become louder. Suddenly, every weakness feels more visible. Every possible obstacle becomes magnified. The mind begins imagining failure before progress has even started. This is normal. The brain often focuses on danger before opportunity because survival has always been its priority. But modern fear is rarely about physical survival. Most fear now involves emotional discomfort, fear of embarrassment, fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. These fears become powerful only when believed repeatedly without challenge. Many people spend too much time trying to eliminate fear completely instead of strengthening trust in themselves. The truth is, fear may never disappear entirely before important action. What changes is your relationship with it. You begin understanding that fear does not always signal danger. Sometimes fear simply signals growth. A person starting a business may feel afraid. A person changing careers may feel afraid. A person speaking honestly for the first time may feel afraid. A person pursuing a meaningful dream may feel afraid. Fear appears because something important is happening. One major reason people remain trapped in doubt is because they constantly seek external validation before trusting themselves. They want approval from family, friends, society, or strangers before fully committing to their chosen direction. But not everyone will understand your path, especially in the beginning. Some people project their own fears onto others. They discourage bold action because they never develop the courage to pursue their own dreams. They mistake caution for wisdom. They advise safety because uncertainty frightens them personally. Listening to too many voices creates confusion. At some point, a person must learn to trust their own judgment enough to move forward despite outside opinions. This does not mean ignoring wise advice. It means recognizing that no one else can fully live your life for you. Other people do not carry your deepest regrets. They do not feel your hidden desires. They do not wake up inside your mind every morning. Your direction must ultimately come from internal clarity. Trust develops through action, not endless thinking. Many people wait for confidence before beginning, but confidence is usually created after repeated effort. The person who practices speaking becomes more confident speaking. The person who trains consistently becomes more confident physically. The person who faces difficult situations becomes more emotionally resilient. Action teaches the mind that survival is possible beyond fear. Avoidance teaches the opposite. Every time you avoid necessary action because of fear, the mind becomes more convinced that fear should be obeyed. Over time, your comfort zone becomes smaller. Simple challenges begin feeling overwhelming because avoidance strengthens anxiety. Facing fear carefully and consistently weakens its control. This does not require dramatic, reckless decisions. Small acts of courage matter deeply. Speaking honestly during difficult conversations. Starting the project you keep postponing. Applying for opportunities despite self-doubt. Setting boundaries with people who drain your energy. Making choices aligned with your values even when others disagree. These moments gradually strengthen self-trust. Self-trust is one of the most important forms of inner strength. Without it, every challenge feels emotionally destabilizing because you constantly question your ability to handle life. But when self-trust grows, you stop needing perfect certainty before taking action. You begin believing that even if difficulties arise, you will find ways to adapt and continue. This mindset changes everything. A person who trusts themselves becomes less controlled by temporary fear because they know discomfort is survivable. They stop expecting life to feel easy all the time. Instead, they focus on becoming mentally stronger. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed much suffering comes not from events themselves, but from the stories people create around them. The mind imagines disaster long before reality arrives. Fear expands through imagination faster than truth. Many worries never actually happen, yet people suffer emotionally as if those imagined outcomes are already real. This drains enormous energy. A calmer, wiser mind learns to stay grounded in the present moment. Instead of obsessing over every possible future disaster, it asks a simpler question. What action can I take right now? This question creates movement. Movement breaks paralysis. Paralysis feeds fear. One reason focused action matters so much is because action interrupts overthinking. The mind often creates exaggerated fear when sitting still too long. But once movement begins, clarity increases gradually. Problems become more manageable. Solutions become more visible. No path reveals itself fully at the beginning. Life unfolds step by step. Waiting until every detail becomes certain usually means waiting forever. Another important truth is understanding that mistakes do not define your worth permanently. Many people fear failure because they attach failure to identity. If something goes wrong, they immediately label themselves incapable or broken. But mistakes are part of learning. Every skilled person once struggled. Every experienced leader once felt uncertain. Every disciplined individual once battled self-doubt. Growth requires imperfection. A person too afraid to fail often becomes too afraid to fully live. Fear of making wrong choices also traps many people. They become obsessed with finding the perfect path. This creates endless hesitation because perfection does not exist. Every direction contains sacrifice. Every opportunity contains difficulty. No decision guarantees comfort forever. Wisdom comes from committing fully to a meaningful direction instead of endlessly searching for flawless certainty. Indecision drains more life than imperfect action ever will. There is also strength in understanding that progress is rarely immediate. Doubt often appears during periods where results remain invisible. A person may work hard for months without seeing dramatic change. This can create internal questioning. Am I wasting my time? Am I capable enough? Should I quit? These moments test commitment deeply, but meaningful growth often develops quietly before visible results appear. Skills improve gradually. Character strengthens internally. Momentum builds slowly beneath the surface. Patience becomes essential. Many people abandon good directions simply because success did not arrive quickly enough. They mistake slow progress for failure. But lasting transformation usually requires sustained effort through uncertainty. Trusting your direction means continuing to move with discipline, even when reassurance feels limited. This trust becomes stronger through experience. Each difficult situation survived builds resilience. Each fear faced increases courage. Each challenge overcome creates evidence that you are more capable than you once believed. Eventually, you stop needing constant certainty to function. You become more comfortable with discomfort itself. This creates freedom. Fear loses some of its power when you realize you can still act while feeling uncertain. Doubt loses some of its control when you stop expecting yourself to feel confident every moment. Real confidence is quieter than people imagine. It is not loud arrogance, it is steady commitment. It is the ability to continue despite temporary emotional storms. It is trusting your values enough to keep walking forward when easier paths invite you to quit. There will always be reasons to doubt yourself. There will always be people who question your decisions. There will always be moments where progress feels slower than expected. But a meaningful life cannot be built entirely around avoiding fear. The future belongs to people willing to continue moving despite uncertainty. Not recklessly, not blindly, step by step, choice by choice, day by day. Your path does not need universal approval to matter. It needs your commitment. It needs your patience. It needs your willingness to continue even when fear attempts to pull you backward. A strong life is not created by avoiding difficulty. It is created by developing the inner strength to face difficulty without abandoning yourself. Trust your direction enough to continue learning. Trust yourself enough to survive mistakes. Trust the process enough to remain patient during invisible growth. Most importantly, trust that fear does not define your limits unless you surrender your future to it completely. The person you are capable of becoming exists beyond the hesitation that keeps asking you to stay small. Walk forward anyway. Chapter 7. Develop patience while working steadily toward long-term success. Most people want success quickly. They want immediate results, fast recognition, rapid improvement, and proof that their effort is working. The modern world encourages this mindset constantly. Everything arrives faster now. Information appears instantly. Entertainment is available within seconds. Opinions spread immediately. Because of this, many people unknowingly develop impatience in every area of life. They begin expecting personal growth to happen with the same speed as digital convenience. But meaningful success does not work that way. Strong character takes time to build. Deep skills take time to develop. Real confidence takes time to strengthen. A meaningful life is shaped slowly through repeated effort over long periods of time. This truth frustrates many people because patience feels uncomfortable. Human beings naturally want reassurance that their work matters. When results stay invisible for too long, doubt begins entering the mind. Questions appear quietly. Why is this taking so long? Maybe I am not talented enough. Maybe this effort is pointless. Maybe other people are simply luckier. These thoughts become dangerous when impatience controls perspective. A person begins comparing their early stage to someone else's years of experience. They focus only on visible results, while ignoring the process required to create them. Long-term success belongs to people who continue working steadily even when progress feels slow. Patience is not passive waiting. Patience is disciplined endurance. It is the ability to continue acting wisely without becoming emotionally defeated by delayed results. A patient person still works hard. They still improve. They still remain committed. But they understand that important things develop gradually. Many people quit too early because they misunderstand how growth actually happens. Progress is often invisible before it becomes visible. A person learning a skill may struggle quietly for months before improvement becomes obvious. Someone building physical strength may train consistently without dramatic changes initially. A person healing emotionally may feel uncertain for a long time before peace finally begins returning. The process usually changes the inside before the outside. This is why patience requires trust. Not blind hope, not fantasy, trust built through consistent effort. A patient person understands that daily actions compound over time, even when immediate rewards are missing. The mind often resists this reality because it craves quick emotional satisfaction. Temporary pleasure feels easier than sustained discipline. Many people abandon meaningful goals because distraction offers faster rewards. Entertainment feels easier than studying. Comfort feels easier than training. Quitting feels easier than continuing through uncertainty. But easy choices repeated daily often create difficult futures. Temporary discomfort endured with patience often creates stronger futures. One reason patience feels difficult is because modern culture constantly displays visible success while hiding the years of effort behind it. People see achievements but not sacrifices. They see confidence but not the struggles that built it. They see results without witnessing the lonely, disciplined work that happened quietly beforehand. This creates unrealistic expectations. A person may begin working toward a goal sincerely, but after a short period they feel discouraged because transformation is slower than imagined. Instead of understanding that growth naturally takes time, they assume something is wrong with them personally. Nothing may be wrong. The process simply requires more patience than expected. A tree does not grow overnight. A strong mind does not develop in one difficult week. A disciplined life is built slowly through repetition. Impatience creates emotional instability because it attaches happiness only to immediate outcomes. A patient person learns how to value the process itself. They understand that each day of honest effort matters even before major success arrives. This mindset creates resilience. When external rewards are delayed, the impatient person often collapses emotionally. They need constant visible proof to stay motivated. But patient people continue because their commitment runs deeper than temporary emotion. They focus on becoming better, not merely appearing successful quickly. There is wisdom in understanding that rushing often creates weakness. Many people move too fast through life because they fear being behind. They rush decisions. They rush relationships. They rush progress. They force outcomes before foundations are strong enough to support them. Eventually, cracks appear because growth without patience lacks stability. Steady effort creates stronger results than emotional urgency. Patience also improves decision-making. When people become desperate for immediate success, they often act impulsively. They chase shortcuts. They abandon long-term values for temporary gains. They compare themselves constantly and make emotional decisions from insecurity instead of clarity. A calmer, patient mind thinks differently. It understands that meaningful progress rarely happens instantly. It understands setbacks are part of development. It understands difficult seasons do not last forever. This perspective protects emotional balance during slow periods. Every meaningful journey contains moments where progress feels invisible. These moments test character deeply because external rewards become limited. Discipline becomes harder, motivation weakens, doubt grows louder. This is where patience becomes strength. Patience allows a person to continue planting seeds even before harvest appears. Many people stop too soon because they mistake silence for failure. They expect constant signs of progress every day. But life often develops quietly beneath the surface before visible change appears. A person improving emotionally may not notice immediate transformation, yet over time they become calmer during situations that once overwhelmed them. A person improving physically may not see dramatic changes quickly, yet strength builds gradually through repeated training. A person learning a craft may feel average for years before skill suddenly becomes undeniable. Invisible growth still matters. One of the greatest dangers of impatience is comparison. Comparison destroys patience because it creates the illusion that everyone else is progressing faster. Social media especially increases this problem. People constantly see carefully selected moments from other lives while comparing them against their own private struggles. This weakens gratitude and focus. A patient person stays connected to their own journey instead of becoming emotionally consumed by someone else's timeline. Life does not unfold equally for everyone. Some people succeed early, then lose direction later. Some struggle for years before breakthrough finally arrives. Some discover their purpose later than expected. Comparing paths only creates unnecessary suffering because every person carries different experiences, responsibilities, opportunities, and obstacles. The only useful comparison is between who you were yesterday and who you are becoming today. Patience also requires emotional maturity. A mature mind accepts that not every effort produces instant reward. It understands that frustration is temporary. It knows discomfort is part of growth. It stops demanding perfect results immediately from every action. This creates inner stability. Without patience, people become emotionally reactive. Small setbacks feel catastrophic. Delays feel unbearable. Temporary failures feel permanent. But patient people develop the ability to stay grounded during uncertainty. This does not mean becoming passive or lazy. Patience is not sitting still doing nothing. Patience is continuing the work without becoming consumed by panic. It is staying committed without needing constant applause. It is improving quietly while trusting that consistent effort eventually creates change. Some of the strongest people in the world live this way. They continue building during seasons where nobody notices their effort. They remain disciplined without external validation. They understand that real growth often happens in silence. This mindset creates deep self-respect. When you continue showing up, despite slow results, you prove to yourself that your commitment is genuine. You stop relying entirely on external success for emotional stability. Your identity becomes rooted in effort, character, and discipline rather than constant outcomes. Patience also helps protect mental peace. Impatient people often live in constant emotional tension because they are always trying to force life to move faster than reality allows. Their mind races endlessly toward future results. They struggle to appreciate present progress because their attention remains trapped in what has not happened yet. Patient people still have ambition, but they move with steadiness instead of desperation. This creates calmer energy. They understand that forcing growth often creates unnecessary suffering. A flower forced open before its time becomes damaged. Human growth follows similar principles. Rushing healing creates emotional exhaustion. Rushing mastery creates shallow understanding. Rushing success often weakens long-term fulfillment. There is wisdom in allowing growth to unfold through disciplined consistency. Another important lesson is learning how to recover after setbacks without losing patience completely. Every long-term journey includes mistakes. There will be periods where progress slows. There will be moments where effort feels unrewarded. Some plans will fail entirely. Impatient people often interpret setbacks as proof they should quit. Patient people treat setbacks as part of learning. This difference changes outcomes dramatically. Failure becomes temporary when persistence remains stronger than disappointment. A person who stays committed long enough often becomes successful simply because they refuse to stop improving. Consistency over years carries enormous power. Small disciplined actions repeated steadily shape identity, skill, reputation, confidence, and opportunity. Most people underestimate what focused effort can create over long periods because they focus only on immediate results. But long-term success is usually built through ordinary days handled with discipline. Reading consistently, practicing consistently, learning consistently, improving consistently, thinking clearly consistently. These simple actions may appear unimpressive daily, yet over time they create extraordinary transformation. Patience allows you to stay connected to these habits long enough for their full impact to appear. A person who lacks patience constantly restarts their life. New goals replace old ones before meaningful progress develops. Excitement fades quickly because commitment never lasts long enough to create depth. A patient person stays long enough to experience real growth. They understand that mastery requires repetition, wisdom requires experience, strength requires endurance. There is dignity in steady effort. Not every season of life will feel exciting. Some seasons are quiet, some require rebuilding slowly, some demand resilience without immediate reward. These seasons still matter deeply because they shape character. The strongest foundations are often built during invisible periods. Continue anyway. Continue learning. Continue improving. Continue showing up with discipline even when results arrive slowly. Trust that meaningful progress is happening beneath the surface through every focused action. Your life is not transformed through one dramatic moment alone. It is transformed through patient, disciplined effort, repeated long enough to create lasting change. The future belongs to those who can remain steady while others become discouraged by time. Stay steady. Your growth is still unfolding. Chapter 8. Increase confidence by completing one important task every day. Many people spend years searching for confidence without realizing they are looking in the wrong place. They believe confidence comes from praise, appearance, popularity, money, or external success. They think confidence will suddenly appear once life becomes easier or once other people finally approve of them. But real confidence is built much differently. It grows quietly through action. It develops when a person repeatedly proves to themselves that they can trust their own effort. Confidence is not created by talking about goals. Confidence is created by completing meaningful actions consistently. This is why so many people secretly struggle with self-doubt. Deep inside, they know they have been avoiding important responsibilities. They know they delay difficult tasks. They know they often break promises made to themselves. Over time, this weakens self-respect. A person may smile publicly while privately feeling disappointed in their own lack of follow-through. The mind remembers every promise you abandon. It remembers every excuse repeated too many times. It remembers every important action delayed out of fear or laziness. This creates internal conflict because part of you wants growth, while another part continues avoiding the effort required to create it. Confidence begins returning the moment your actions start matching your intentions again. One important completed task every day has the power to change your entire identity over time. Not 20 tasks, not endless activity. One meaningful action completed fully with focus and honesty. This approach matters because many people overwhelm themselves by trying to transform their entire life overnight. They create unrealistic expectations, then collapse under pressure. Soon motivation disappears and old habits return. Real change works differently. Small victories repeated consistently build stronger momentum than emotional bursts that never last. One completed task creates proof. Proof creates trust. Trust creates confidence. This process may appear simple, but it is deeply powerful. When you wake up and complete something important, your mind experiences a different kind of satisfaction. It is not the shallow pleasure of distraction or temporary entertainment. It is deeper. It creates self-respect because effort was directed toward growth instead of avoidance. The task itself does not always need to be dramatic. Finishing an important work assignment matters. Studying with full concentration matters. Exercising when excuses appear matters. Cleaning your environment matters. Having a difficult, honest conversation matters. Practicing a skill consistently matters. Every meaningful completed action strengthens identity slowly. The key is completion. Many people constantly begin things but rarely finish them. Their life becomes filled with unfinished plans, incomplete goals, and abandoned routines. This creates mental exhaustion because unfinished responsibilities continue occupying emotional space. The mind becomes crowded with guilt, frustration, and self-criticism. Completion creates mental clarity. Even small completed actions bring a sense of order to the mind. They remind you that progress is possible. They remind you that effort matters. They remind you that you are capable of moving your life forward intentionally. This is especially important during difficult emotional periods. When people feel lost or overwhelmed, they often believe they need massive answers immediately. In reality, what they often need first is movement. One meaningful, completed action can interrupt emotional paralysis. It can restore a sense of control during chaotic moments. A person who feels powerless usually benefits from accomplishing something valuable consistently. Action rebuilds strength. Avoidance weakens it. Many people lose confidence because they spend too much time thinking and too little time doing. Their mind becomes trapped in analysis, comparison, and self-doubt. Meanwhile, important responsibilities continue waiting. Overthinking grows heavier because action never arrives to interrupt it. Movement changes mental energy. A person who completes one difficult task often feels emotionally different afterward. Not because the problem disappeared completely, but because they stopped running from it. Facing responsibilities creates internal strength. Running from them creates internal tension. This is why discipline and confidence are deeply connected. A disciplined person gains confidence naturally because repeated effort produces evidence of capability. They stop depending entirely on external validation because their self-respect comes from personal action. There is something powerful about knowing you can rely on yourself. That feeling changes posture, thinking, and emotional stability. Many people secretly admire confident individuals without realizing what often created that confidence. It was not always talent, it was repeated follow-through. It was daily effort maintained quietly over time. Confidence built this way becomes stronger because it is rooted in reality. False confidence depends heavily on appearances and approval. Real confidence survives difficult situations because it is built through experience. A person who has repeatedly handled responsibilities, faced discomfort, and completed meaningful work develops a calmer belief in their own ability. This belief cannot be faked for long. The mind knows whether your confidence is supported by action or merely by words. This is why excuses become dangerous when repeated too often. Excuses may protect comfort temporarily, but they damage self-respect gradually. A person begins seeing themselves as unreliable because avoidance becomes familiar. Every excuse strengthens weakness slightly. Every completed task strengthens discipline slightly. Over time, these small moments create entirely different lives. One person develops resilience. Another develops regret. The difference often begins with daily behavior. Another important truth is that confidence grows faster when tasks align with your deeper values instead of shallow distractions. Completing meaningless activities may keep you busy, but they rarely create genuine fulfillment. Meaningful work matters because it connects effort with purpose. Ask yourself honestly, what task today would make me respect myself more if completed fully? That question creates clarity. It shifts attention away from easy distractions toward meaningful progress. Sometimes the important task may involve personal growth instead of productivity. Apologizing sincerely may be the important task. Taking care of your health may be the important task. Restoring order to your environment may be the important task. Making a difficult decision may be the important task. Growth is not limited only to career success. A strong life requires emotional, physical, mental, and practical discipline working together. Completing meaningful tasks also improves focus because it trains the brain to value depth over constant distraction. Modern life encourages endless interruption. Many people jump rapidly between activities without fully committing to anything. This weakens attention and increases mental fatigue. Focused completion creates a different experience. The mind becomes more organized. Concentration strengthens, patience improves. Energy feels directed instead of scattered. This is why even one fully completed task daily can transform momentum over time. Momentum matters greatly. When a person repeatedly avoids responsibilities, they begin feeling emotionally heavy. Starting becomes harder. Confidence weakens further. But once consistent completion begins, momentum slowly shifts. The mind starts expecting progress instead of delay. This creates positive internal pressure. You begin wanting to maintain the standard you are building. One disciplined day encourages another. One completed responsibility makes the next one easier to face. This process compounds over months and years into major transformation. Another reason many people struggle with confidence is because they constantly compare themselves to others, instead of measuring their own improvement honestly. Comparison creates unnecessary discouragement because people usually compare their private struggles to someone else's public highlights. This steals focus from personal growth. Real confidence develops when attention returns to your own actions. Did you handle today with discipline? Do you complete what mattered? Did you move forward honestly? These questions matter far more than constant comparison. A calm, confident person is usually focused on their own standards rather than chasing endless validation from others. There is also wisdom in learning to appreciate small victories without becoming complacent. Many people ignore their own progress because they only celebrate massive achievements. This mindset creates constant dissatisfaction because growth often happens gradually. Finishing one important task daily may seem simple initially, but over time it changes identity deeply. You begin seeing yourself as someone capable of consistency. You stop identifying as lazy or unreliable. You begin trusting your own word again. This internal trust affects every part of life. Relationships improve because dependable people create stability. Work improves because focused effort produces better results. Mental health improves because avoidance decreases. Emotional resilience strengthens because responsibilities stop controlling your mind through guilt and delay. A powerful life is often built through ordinary disciplined actions repeated quietly. Not dramatic speeches, not endless planning, not temporary motivation, daily follow-through. Another important lesson is understanding that perfection is unnecessary. Some people avoid beginning important tasks because they fear doing them imperfectly. This creates paralysis. They wait for ideal conditions, perfect energy, or complete certainty before acting. But confidence does not come from perfect performance. It comes from willing engagement with responsibility despite imperfection. Done consistently matters more than done flawlessly. A person who acts imperfectly but consistently will usually outperform someone who endlessly prepares without action. Your life changes when your habits begin producing evidence instead of excuses. Every completed task becomes another reminder that you are capable of directing your behavior intentionally. This matters deeply because self-respect cannot be purchased externally. It must be earned internally through action. People who trust themselves move differently through life. They speak more clearly. They hesitate less. They recover faster from setbacks. They handle pressure more calmly because they have built internal evidence through repeated effort. All of this begins with simple, consistent action. Choose one meaningful task each day. Give it your full attention. Finish it honestly. Repeat this process long enough, and something powerful begins happening quietly inside you. Doubt weakens, focus sharpens, discipline strengthens. Confidence grows naturally because your actions finally support the person you are trying to become. And once a person learns how to trust themselves consistently, very little in life feels impossible anymore. Chapter 9. Master your emotions to stay calm under daily pressure. Life places pressure on every person. Responsibilities increase, expectations grow. Unexpected problems appear without warning. Some days feel emotionally heavy before they even begin. A difficult conversation, financial stress, disappointment, criticism, exhaustion, uncertainty, or conflict can quickly disturb the mind if emotions are left unmanaged. Many people are not destroyed by one major event. They are slowly exhausted by daily emotional reactions that never fully settle. One stressful moment ruins the rest of the day. One argument stays inside the mind for hours. One disappointment creates emotional collapse. This pattern weakens peace, focus, health, and decision-making over time. A calm mind is one of the greatest forms of strength a person can develop. Not because calm people avoid problems, but because they learn how to remain steady while facing them. Emotional mastery does not mean suppressing feelings or pretending nothing affects you. Human beings naturally experience anger, sadness, frustration, fear, jealousy, disappointment, and stress. The goal is not becoming emotionless. The goal is preventing emotions from controlling behavior completely. There is a major difference between feeling an emotion and obeying it automatically. Many people never learn this difference. The moment anger appears, they react immediately. The moment anxiety appears, they panic. The moment frustration rises, they speak carelessly. Their emotions become the driver of their actions instead of temporary experiences moving through the mind. This creates unnecessary suffering. A reactive mind often damages relationships, weakens focus, and creates regret because emotions pass quickly while consequences remain longer. Mastering emotions begins with awareness. You cannot control what you refuse to observe honestly. Many people move through life emotionally unconscious. They react automatically without examining why certain situations affect them so strongly. A small criticism creates intense anger, a delay creates panic, a disagreement creates emotional shutdown. Without awareness, these reactions continue repeating endlessly. Pause and observe yourself carefully. What situations repeatedly disturb your peace? What thoughts intensify your stress? What habits increase emotional instability? Self-observation creates emotional intelligence. This skill becomes powerful because awareness creates space between emotion and action. Instead of reacting instantly, you begin noticing what is happening internally first. This pause changes everything. A calm person is not someone who never feels pressure. A calm person is someone who learned how to pause before responding emotionally. That pause protects relationships. It protects decisions. It protects inner peace. Daily pressure becomes dangerous mainly when emotions remain unmanaged for long periods. Stress accumulates silently inside the body and mind. Sleep weakens, patience disappears, focus decreases. Eventually, even small problems begin feeling overwhelming because emotional exhaustion has reached unhealthy levels. This is why emotional discipline matters as much as physical discipline. The body cannot remain healthy under constant emotional chaos. The mind cannot think clearly while trapped in endless reaction. Many people unknowingly feed emotional instability every day through their habits. Constant noise, poor sleep, endless comparison, unhealthy relationships, overwork, and digital overstimulation create internal tension. The nervous system never fully rests because the mind is always consuming something emotionally stimulating. Silence becomes rare. Stillness becomes uncomfortable. The brain remains alert constantly, as if danger is everywhere. A calmer life begins by reducing unnecessary emotional input. Not every argument deserves participation. Not every negative comment deserves attention. Not every piece of bad news deserves emotional absorption. Protecting your emotional state is not weakness, it is wisdom. A person who absorbs every problem around them eventually loses mental clarity. Strong people learn how to stay informed without drowning emotionally in everything happening around them. Breathing matters more than many people realize during stressful moments. Pressure changes breathing patterns automatically. The body becomes tense. Breaths become shorter and faster. This increases emotional intensity because the nervous system interprets shallow breathing as danger. Slowing your breathing intentionally helps calm the body and mind together. This may sound simple, but it is powerful during moments of anger, anxiety, or stress. A calm breath interrupts emotional escalation. It creates enough space for clearer thinking to return. The body and emotions are deeply connected. Tension stored physically often increases emotional reactivity. Poor sleep exhaustion, lack of movement, and unhealthy routines weaken emotional control because the nervous system becomes overloaded more easily. Rest matters emotionally. Movement matters emotionally. Nutrition matters emotionally. Taking care of your physical condition strengthens emotional resilience naturally. Another important lesson is understanding that thoughts influence emotions heavily. Many people believe emotions appear randomly, but thoughts often fuel them continuously. A person who constantly imagines worst-case scenarios increases anxiety. A person who replays insults repeatedly increases anger. A person who compares themselves endlessly increases insecurity. The mind becomes emotionally affected by what it repeatedly focuses on. This is why perspective matters greatly. Two people can face the same challenge while responding completely differently emotionally. One collapses mentally while the other remains grounded. The difference often comes from interpretation. A wise mind asks calmer questions during difficulty. What can I control right now? What response would help instead of harm? Will this matter deeply 1 year from now? These questions interrupt emotional chaos and return attention to practical action. Daily pressure becomes easier to handle when you stop expecting life to remain comfortable all the time. Many people suffer unnecessarily because they treat difficulty as proof something is wrong with life itself. But challenge is part of being human. Delays happen, mistakes happen, disappointments happen, conflict happens. Accepting this reality creates emotional stability. A person who expects perfection becomes emotionally fragile. A person who accepts difficulty as natural becomes more resilient. The Stoics practiced this mindset carefully. They understood external events cannot always be controlled, but internal response can be trained. This idea remains powerful because most emotional suffering comes from resistance to reality. Fighting reality emotionally drains enormous energy. Accepting reality calmly creates clarity. Acceptance does not mean weakness or surrender. It means seeing situations honestly instead of wasting energy wishing reality were different before taking action. Another major source of emotional instability is attachment to other people's approval. Many individuals feel emotionally controlled by opinions around them. Praise makes them feel worthy. Criticism destroys their confidence. Rejection feels unbearable because self-worth depends heavily on external validation. This creates emotional dependence. A calmer person builds stronger internal grounding. They listen to feedback wisely without allowing every opinion to define their identity. They understand not everyone will understand, support, or agree with them. Seeking universal approval creates emotional exhaustion because it is impossible to satisfy everyone. Emotional mastery also requires learning when to leave emotionally unhealthy environments. Some people constantly create chaos, negativity, manipulation, or unnecessary conflict. Spending too much time around emotional instability eventually affects your own nervous system and mindset. Protect your peace carefully. Not every environment deserves your energy. Not every relationship deserves unlimited access to your emotions. Boundaries protect mental clarity. Many calm people become calmer because they stop participating in unnecessary drama repeatedly. Another important skill is learning how to recover emotionally after difficult moments instead of carrying them endlessly. Some people remain emotionally trapped inside one bad moment for days or weeks. They replay conversations repeatedly. They relive mistakes continuously. Their mind refuses to release the experience. This creates emotional heaviness that spreads into other areas of life. A healthier approach is reflection without obsession. Learn from mistakes. Feel emotions honestly, then gradually return attention to the present moment. The past cannot be changed through endless emotional replay. Growth happens through wiser action moving forward. Gratitude also affects emotional balance more deeply than many realize. A mind focused entirely on problems eventually loses perspective. This does not mean ignoring real difficulties. It means remembering that life usually contains both struggle and blessings simultaneously. Gratitude creates emotional balance because it reminds the mind that not everything is broken. Even during difficult seasons, there are still things worth appreciating: health, breath, learning, growth, support, opportunity, moments of peace. These reminders calm emotional intensity and restore perspective. Another hidden source of emotional pressure is constant urgency. Many people rush through life mentally. Their thoughts race constantly toward the next responsibility. Their nervous system never slows down. Even during rest, they feel guilty or mentally restless. This creates chronic emotional tension. Slow down intentionally sometimes. Walk slower. Eat without distraction. Listen fully during conversations. Spend moments without constant stimulation. These small practices train the nervous system to experience calm again. Calmness is a skill developed through repetition. Every time you pause before reacting, you strengthen emotional control. Every time you choose thoughtful action over impulsive behavior, you strengthen emotional maturity. Every time you protect your peace from unnecessary chaos, you strengthen mental clarity. These moments build inner stability gradually. Emotionally strong people are not people without feelings. They are people who learned how to feel deeply without becoming controlled completely by every emotion that passes through them. This creates tremendous power during difficult situations. Calm minds solve problems better. Calm minds communicate more clearly. Calm minds recover faster from setbacks. Calm minds make wiser long-term decisions. There will always be pressure in life. Responsibilities will continue. Unexpected situations will continue. Human emotions will continue. But your relationship with those emotions can change completely. You do not have to become trapped inside every feeling. You do not have to react impulsively to every stressful moment. You can train yourself to respond with greater patience, awareness, and steadiness. This process requires practice. Some days you will handle emotions wisely. Some days you will struggle. The important thing is continuing to improve without condemning yourself for being human. Emotional mastery is not perfection, it is progress. It is becoming more conscious of your reactions. It is protecting your peace more intentionally. It is learning how to remain grounded when pressure attempts to pull you into chaos. The strongest form of power is often quiet. A calm person walking through difficulty with clarity and control carries a strength many people never fully develop. Build that strength patiently. Your peace is worth protecting. Chapter 10. Transform your life through relentless focus and purposeful action. A person's life rarely changes in one dramatic moment. Transformation usually happens quietly through repeated choices, disciplined habits, painful lessons, focused effort, and daily actions that slowly reshape the mind. Many people spend years waiting for motivation powerful enough to suddenly fix everything. They wait for the perfect opportunity, the perfect mood, the perfect plan, or the perfect time to finally become the person they want to be. Meanwhile, life continues moving forward without waiting. Real change begins when excuses lose power over your decisions. Most people already know what would improve their life. They know they should focus more carefully. They know they should stop wasting time. They know they should take better care of their body and mind. They know they should become more disciplined. The problem is rarely lack of information. The problem is lack of consistent, focused action. Knowledge without action changes nothing. Purpose without effort changes nothing. Dreams without discipline remain fantasies. This is why relentless focus matters so deeply. Focus gives direction to energy. Without focus, the mind becomes scattered. Attention moves toward distractions, emotional reactions, shallow entertainment, and meaningless activity. Days become busy but empty, effort becomes divided. Life slowly loses direction. A focused person lives differently. Their energy is intentional. Their priorities are clearer. Their actions support their future instead of constantly sabotaging it. Transformation requires this level of clarity because no meaningful life can be built through constant distraction. Every day you are becoming something. Your habits shape your identity whether you notice it or not. Every repeated action trains the mind. Every choice either strengthens discipline or strengthens weakness. Every hour spent intentionally moves your future in one direction, while every hour wasted pulls it somewhere else. This truth may feel uncomfortable, but it is also empowering. It means your life is not controlled entirely by luck or circumstance. Your repeated actions matter enormously. Many people underestimate the power of focused action because results often appear slowly at first. One workout may not transform the body immediately. One day of studying may not create mastery instantly. One disciplined morning may not solve every problem, but repeated focused action compounds over time into dramatic change. Small efforts become powerful when sustained consistently. A person who reads every day develops wisdom gradually. A person who trains consistently develops strength gradually. A person who protects their focus develops mental clarity gradually. Most transformation happens through ordinary actions repeated long enough to become identity. This is why purpose matters deeply. Without purpose, discipline eventually weakens because effort feels meaningless. A person needs a reason stronger than temporary emotion. They need direction that gives meaning to sacrifice and patience during difficult seasons. Purpose creates endurance. When your actions connect to something meaningful, focus becomes easier to maintain. Hard work stops feeling entirely empty because your effort serves a larger vision for your life. That vision does not need to impress the world. It simply needs to matter deeply to you. Some people want to build financial stability for their family. Some want emotional peace after years of inner chaos. Some want physical health and self-respect. Some want freedom from destructive habits. Some want to become stronger mentally after painful experiences. Purpose becomes powerful when it aligns with values instead of external validation. Many people lose direction because they chase goals that do not truly belong to them. They pursue status, approval, attention, or comparison-based success. Even if they achieve those things, they still feel empty because the journey lacked genuine meaning. A focused life requires honesty. What truly matters to you? What kind of person do you genuinely want to become? What future deserves your effort? Once these answers become clearer, your actions begin carrying greater strength because they are connected to purpose instead of confusion. Relentless focus does not mean working endlessly without rest or humanity. It means refusing to drift through life unconsciously. It means protecting your attention carefully. It means returning to meaningful priorities repeatedly, even when distractions pull against you. The modern world constantly fights for your focus. Every platform wants your attention. Every distraction wants your energy. Every unnecessary habit competes for your time. A person who cannot direct their attention intentionally becomes controlled by external forces constantly. Their thoughts become scattered. Their goals become inconsistent. Their potential remains underdeveloped because concentration never lasts long enough to create depth. Deep work changes people. When you focus fully on meaningful action, the mind strengthens, attention sharpens, discipline increases. Confidence grows because you begin seeing proof of your own capability. Focused effort creates momentum. Momentum creates belief. Belief creates greater action. This cycle becomes life-changing once maintained long enough. One important truth is that transformation often feels uncomfortable while it is happening. Many people expect growth to feel exciting constantly, but real growth often demands sacrifice. Old habits must be released. Distractions must lose importance. Comfort zones must be challenged repeatedly. This process creates resistance naturally. The mind prefers familiarity, even when familiarity creates suffering. A person may know certain habits are damaging, yet still struggle to change because old patterns feel emotionally safe. Purposeful action breaks these patterns slowly. Every disciplined decision weakens old habits and strengthens new ones. Over time, identity shifts. You stop seeing yourself as someone controlled by excuses. You begin seeing yourself as someone capable of directing your life intentionally. Identity transformation is one of the most powerful changes a person can experience. Once the mind accepts a new identity, behavior becomes easier to maintain. A person who sees themselves as disciplined acts differently than someone who constantly identifies with weakness or failure. This is why your daily actions matter beyond immediate results. They teach your brain who you are becoming. A person who consistently follows through develops self-trust. A person who repeatedly quits strengthens self-doubt. Your habits are writing your future constantly. Another important lesson is understanding that relentless focus requires elimination as much as effort. You cannot transform your life while protecting every distraction that weakens your growth. Some habits must end. Some environments require distance. Some relationships drain too much energy. Some routines quietly destroy focus and emotional balance. Growth often requires difficult honesty. A focused person learns how to say no to what no longer supports their future. This is not selfishness, it is responsibility. Your attention is valuable. Your energy shapes your future. Protecting both becomes necessary if you truly want transformation. There will always be moments where motivation disappears. Some mornings will feel heavy. Some seasons will feel emotionally exhausting. Some efforts will seem unrewarded for longer than expected. This is where purposeful action becomes essential. A person guided only by emotion becomes inconsistent. A person guided by purpose continues even during difficult periods because their commitment runs deeper than temporary feelings. This creates resilience. Resilience is built every time you continue despite discomfort. Every difficult workout completed. Every distraction resisted. Every responsibility handled. Every focused hour invested. These moments appear small individually, but together they create mental toughness capable of changing an entire life. Transformation also requires patience with yourself. Many people destroy progress through harsh self-hatred. They make mistakes, then immediately conclude they are incapable of change. This mindset weakens consistency because shame drains motivation. A wiser approach combines accountability with patience. Recognize mistakes honestly. Learn from them clearly. Then continue moving forward instead of remaining trapped in guilt. No person transforms perfectly. Every growth journey includes setbacks, doubts, and difficult periods. What matters most is returning to focused action repeatedly instead of abandoning yourself completely. Another important truth is that purposeful living creates deeper fulfillment than endless comfort ever could. Comfort without meaning eventually creates emptiness. People often feel most alive when they are growing, contributing, improving, building, learning, and overcoming meaningful challenges. Purpose gives struggle meaning. Without purpose, even small difficulties feel unbearable. With purpose, difficult moments become easier to endure because they are connected to something valuable. This changes how you experience life itself. Ordinary days become meaningful because your actions align with your values. Discipline becomes empowering instead of restrictive. Focus becomes freeing instead of exhausting. You stop drifting emotionally through endless distraction and begin moving intentionally toward a future built through conscious effort. There is tremendous power in becoming someone who finishes what they begin, someone who protects their attention, someone who follows through consistently, someone who stays focused even when distractions become tempting. The world is filled with distracted people constantly reacting to noise, trends, emotions, and external pressure. Calm, focused individuals become rare because maintaining deep concentration requires discipline. But rare qualities create rare lives. A focused mind sees opportunities more clearly. A focused person learns faster. A focused individual recovers more quickly from setbacks because their direction remains stable. Most importantly, a focused, purposeful life creates internal peace. Not because problems disappear completely, but because your energy finally moves in alignment with what matters most. Internal conflict decreases when actions match values. Self-respect increases when discipline becomes consistent. Life becomes simpler when your priorities become clearer. Transformation is not magic. It is focused effort repeated daily. It is choosing growth over excuses repeatedly. It is directing attention intentionally instead of unconsciously. It is acting with purpose even during ordinary moments. Every day gives another opportunity to become stronger mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually through focused action. The future version of you is being shaped right now by the habits you repeat, the distractions you entertain, the standards you accept, and the actions you avoid or complete. Do not underestimate the power of one focused year. 1 year of disciplined action can rebuild confidence. It can restore health. It can strengthen character. It can create opportunities that once seemed impossible. It can completely change the direction of your life. But transformation only happens when focus becomes stronger than distraction and purposeful action becomes stronger than excuses. The life you want will never be built accidentally. It must be created intentionally. One focused decision at a time. One disciplined action at a time. One meaningful day at a time.